Welcome back to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our watch club for Marvel's Miss Marvel. But you sure are, and always have been, our own little Miss Marvel. Welcome to Watch Club. My name is Nate, and this is our Watch Club for Miss Marvel, Episode 6, the finale, titled No Normal, directed by Adil and Bilal. If you're joining us for the first time, this is Watch Club, our weekly review series, kind of like a book club, but way better. Keep in mind, we will be going into full spoilers for this series and the MCU in general, so if you haven't watched this week's episode, come on, just get yourself together, go watch it, and then come right back in a snap. Now, before we all booby trap our high school to protect our half-djinn friends, let me introduce you to my cosmic besties joining me today. First up, we have my cosmic brother from another universe's mother. He's the dastardly daring and deadly deviant Darcy Hudson.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Joining us live from some really white room with butterflies on the ceiling.
Are you sure you're not being held captive somewhere?
I sure am not. I am just borrowing a little girl's butterfly-adorned bedroom, okay? It's a
I don't
lovely
like that
place to
answer
record.
either.
Yeah, that's not, I don't know.
What's wrong with how I phrase that? I don't see anything wrong with it.
I'm just borrowing it from her. She'll get it back when she is allowed.
Yeah,
when she's been.
I said stay out. I said stay out.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, listen, that other voice you're hearing is not the girl who owns that room. Joining us once again, she's the all-knowing agent of alien alter egos. She's Alyssa, the absolute point Balistreri from Video Dames, the podcast. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing so well. I think every time I'm on here, you give me way too much credit. It just feels so complimented every time.
You've never been an absolute point before?
Honestly, absolute points, incursions. I'm lost. I feel like I'm more lost than everybody else.
There's so many different terms that they throw at us. I was happy to see in this episode that they managed to kind of keep the timeline together. There's a lot of notes to that, a lot of nods to what year it is, but I'm so stoked to have you guys on for this fantastic finale. Alyssa, you've joined us before on our Hawkeye Watch Club, but with this being your first time on this Watch Club, I want to know, what have your thoughts of Miss Marvel been leading up to this finale?
As soon as I saw the pilot episode, I was just absolutely taken by this series. Miss Marvel's kind of been on my back burner in terms of like comic reading. So just that first beautifully directed entry really like took me by surprise and threw me into the comics. I think I'm like 17 issues deep right now.
All right.
It's just like it sparked my passion to discover more about Miss Marvel. I love it. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I think that first episode was absolutely perfection.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I think it speaks to the directors with the episode that we got in this episode. In terms of the quality and the fact that Adil and Bilal also did this one. It just kind of really fits. Really, a lot of bookending happening in this episode, and I love a good bookend. So cool. Well, listen, there is so much in this finale. So we really should just get right to it. So we start the episode seeing the DODC led by Agent Deaver investigating the explosion at the Circle Q, where she says, this is what happens when the wrong people get powers. And she says she means kids, but I don't know. She's been pretty disrespectful this entire season. And then we cut to Kamran, led by Bruno, through the subway as Kamran struggles to keep his powers in check. And then during the Marvel fanfare, we hear a song called Captain Space by Janubi Kargosh, which Captain Space is just like a little nod to something that we're going to talk about way later in this Watch Club. We then see Kamala attempting to make an announcement / apology to her family. I say attempting because, I mean, they already all know that she is the light girl, Nightlight. And in classic con gossip train, Kamala told Ami, she told Abu, and Amir and Taisha overheard because he always has his phone on speaker. Obviously inquisitive, Taisha asks if her powers are limitless or does she have to recharge, and Amr asks if on the night of the Eid festival she dropped that kid on purpose, which I totally, I could believe it after seeing this kid show up again in this episode. I could totally believe that. Her dad asks her to be careful, telling her he worries too much. And Muniba says, we trust her, right? So let's break this down. Let's kind of get right into it. What did we think of the fact that now her entire, at least immediate family, knows her secret? And do you also think she might need to recharge her powers? What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think there's any recharging going, personally. I think it's more just the stamina thing, like cardio. As we see her getting around, it's a lot of running and just it seems like an extension of her body almost. So I think it's more just some, a good strength training regime to get into the cardio form and stuff like that would probably be her best bet in, honing her powers and stuff like that. And again, no recharging aside from a nap and, a good rest type thing.
That's what I was thinking. Like, she's a teenager, right?
Yeah.
What do teenagers need? They need sleep. They need a lot of sleep for all that energy. They're all those TikToks and in Kamala's case.
Lots of euros.
A lot of euros. Oh yeah, a lot of euros. So she's munching those things. Maybe cut back a little bit on the euros. But no, dude, she's killing it. And I think just a good night's rest for her to kind of rest up her powers.
Mm-hmm. I think it was interesting, kind of like allusion to the comics, because in the run that I'm reading, at least I haven't got past the G. Willow Wilson yet, but basically when she's like injured, she needs to go back to her normal size to like revitalize herself or like heal up. So I thought that was an interesting take, but no, I don't think she needs to heal up anything. I think she just pulls her energy from the Noor dimension. But the one thing that's really surprising, it's not that like her family's not surprised by who she is or the news or anything like that. The thing that is the most surprising to me is like this new genre of fiction where like parents become self-aware and accept their kids for who they are. Like it's just so abnormal.
Yeah.
It's like Turning Red, Mitchell's versus the Machines. Now this movie.
We're starting to see it.
Now they're going to start apologizing. What is this weird fiction sci-fi that we're going into? It's unreal.
But it's so lovely. I don't know. As I completely agree. In some cases, it can be a little unrealistic for some people. But I gotta just say, I love that it's such a great callback to like how they found out Yusuf's love for, and also his misunderstanding of technology and just how he uses speakerphone. Like he's just like, it's very convenient. And I just thought the line delivery from Mohan Kapoor, who I think honestly is the VIP of this episode, maybe even this entire series for me. He was just so fantastic. But I love that her mom just fully trusts her now. And I think it's a great sort of contrast to where she started in the series. And I think, you go through something like this with anyone and maybe they start to kind of turn around and start to understand what's going on and what you're going through. But I don't know, man. I did enjoy this quite a bit.
I mean, I always find when they tell, more than one person about their secret identity, it always ends badly for superheroes. So it just has me worried. I mean, we saw what happened with Peter Parker and where that left him. And I feel worse for him now because he's on his own. The other young hero we know and love is in the world on his own, and she's got this huge supportive family that she can turn to in times of need. So, very different heroes, and if you look at it that way.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too because there's so many, like for the most part, all the Marvel shows and movies that we've watched, they're all characters who, granted, I think it's great to show on screen of different types of families, but this was just like a regular, like they were just a family. They were a unit. They were all together, and that's not really anything that we've really gotten. Usually it's like a broken family, or even in the case of like for Black Widow, like her family's like all apart and things like that. So to be able to see this, I thought was really nice. But yeah, it does kind of worry me, the fact that she's always like, she's just unmasked all the time. Like even at the end of this episode, she's like hopping down to see her friends and she's just not wearing a mask or any costume or anything. It's like anybody could be looking at this right now. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's very odd for the superheroes that we know and learn in the comics. It's all about keeping your identity a secret so that nothing can bad happen to the ones you love. And here she is, all the ones she loves knows about her secret. Just makes me worried.
Yeah.
It's another branch of fiction. A story where someone has both parents and they're both alive.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's just very strange. I'm telling you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, listen, then out of nowhere, Nakia calls and informs Kamala that the Circle Q has exploded, as if Bruno really needed to go through that. Kamala, incredibly worried for Bruno, calls him frantically as she gets ready to head out and she to see if he's okay. And she's stopped by her mother, who tells her she's not going anywhere. Well, at least not dressed the way she is. Muniba then sits with her daughter and gives her a gift. She gives her a new costume, custom made, and I'm not crying. Are you crying? This made me tear up quite a bit. Let's talk about Kamala's new digs here. What did you think of the final Miss Marvel outfit?
I'm just so impressed with what Muniba put together. I'm assuming at short notice, at least from when she returned from Pakistan to now. But I think it's genuinely my favorite Marvel hero suit of this phase. At least it's basically a visual representation of her family. Every single piece is something that is meaningful to her. The mask is from Bruno and the scarf is from Kareem. At the red daggers, her outfit was made by her mom, and the symbol now on her chest rather than a lightning bolt is the cuff, which is basically the K in her name. So I think that's just such a beautiful way to not only take this story that has so much meaning, but just even extrapolate it even further and give it more depth.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I love that it was shipped in a milk toffee box.
Yes, full circle moments, so everybody.
Right,
Incredible.
Absolutely gorgeous. And again, it's a nice little bookend because the first thing she discovered as part of her outfit was in a milk toffee box from Sana. So I think it was just absolutely great. It also calls back to the fact her mom made that Hulk suit before when she didn't trust her, and what she was doing in that moment was, yes, she was giving her a little bit of freedom, but she was kind of saying yeah, you can go out, but you're going to be wearing this giant green bubble suit that hides you from the rest of the world. And now we see her on the complete opposite side, where she's giving her a costume that highlights everything about her and kind of announces Kamala to the world. And I think, I don't know, I love the way that they were able to really just sort of go full circle with so many elements in this episode. And yeah, it was absolutely lovely. So cool.
Again, I thought it was, I think I said it in the first episode, in the first watch club we did, that I felt like her necklace looked a lot like the symbol from the lightning bolt on her shirt. It's really cool to see that come to fruition. And the fact that it was her mom who made that connection after finding it last episode, thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Also, mad kudos to her tailoring skills, because not only was that lightning bolt intricate, but the shoulder pads, everything on it was just that is a several overnighters to get that ready in time, it seems.
Yeah, actually, I mean, even Nakia later on in the episode calls it out. She's like, oh, is that that's from Pakistan? Nice stitching. She recognizes that only in Pakistan are you going to get a superhero outfit like that. So,
overnight superhero suit.
Overnight superhero suit. It's so good. Okay, so then to the tune of Light Switch by Chai, which is a bop, by the way. I immediately asked Siri what that song was and downloaded it. We see Kamala testing out the new fit as she hard light jogs across the city to find Bruno and Kamran, who found their way to Nakia at the mosque. She reminds them that this is a mosque in America and that there's way too many government groups surveilling them already. She tells them they need to head to the high school instead. As Agent Deaver and the DODC arrive, they begin to search the mosque and are stopped by Nakia, who distracts them with her fake boyfriend, Miguel. And I love how Miguel is just like, yeah, did you get this on camera? Because I need this moment. It's so good. This allows Bruno and Kamran to meet up with Sheikh Abdullah at the back of the mosque, who helps them to escape and provides them with some hats as a disguise. They take They take a turn down an alleyway where they're found by Kamala, and they collectively comment on each other's outfits. As Kamala and Bruno embrace each other with a hug, Kamran starts screaming and emitting what looks like Noor light from his entire body. They catch him as he falls back, and they avoid and leave to... Sorry. They catch him as he falls back, and then they leave to avoid all the sirens around them. So let's talk about this. What's going on with Kamran here, and what do we think is happening with his body like throughout this episode?
I just got the sense that his body isn't compatible with this energy that he was suddenly imbued with, or it's having a hard time like getting used to it. So I think it's more just like where Kamala has the bangle to kind of help her control and focus these powers. Right now, he just got all the powers dumped on him without the regulator. So it's more like, how do I keep it in? It hurts. It's crushing. So again, like going forward in the episode, I have a theory as to what he might do to circumnavigate that issue and gain control of himself. But all I can think is that he can control it, and it's trying to get out in a very painful way, obviously.
I think that, it's hard to say because like I've never heard of the like Noor dimension before, or I've never really like seen this power before. I think none of us have seen this power before.
No,
but what I perceived to happen in the last episode was like Najma left her physical being and transferred herself through the Noor dimension into Kamran. Because I was actually watching earlier with the subtitles, and you can see in the subtitles it goes Najma, and she goes Kamran when he's like screaming in the alleyway. So I mean, maybe that's like her kind of like negative power that's trying to sway him. But I agree with you. I just don't think he knows how to control it yet, and we have yet to see that. Maybe that'll happen with like the right daggers.
Interesting. I think it's interesting that you bring up the fact that I also caught that like she's calling his name out, and it's like, so she must still exist in some way. I guess like maybe he heard it and like ignored it or didn't hear it because of everything that was going on. I was wondering if maybe Najma was trying to reach out to him from the Noor dimension because she saw that maybe he was starting to accept his new group of friends and his life in this dimension, and she wanted him to come back to her. And so maybe this was her trying to like, I don't know, open the veil from within inside him to bring it. I don't know. Honestly, everything with the clandestines was a little bit confusing for me. So even this sort of moment throughout the episode and with his arc was just kind of like, I don't really know what they're playing at here, but I like those theories a lot. I think there's some interesting wordplay in this scene. Kamran says he feels like he's being crushed from the inside, which does sound awful, but it's also a callback to the name of the episode that he was actually introduced in, which was episode 2, titled Crushed, which obviously was about like Kamala having a crush on him. But I thought that was kind of a neat thing. And then also, just as another side note, when Kamala runs past the Euro King on his cart, in the back, you can actually catch this episode's QR code, which we weren't able to find a QR code last time because the last episode was mostly in Karachi, so I don't think there was a QR code back in 1942 Karachi. But in this episode, you can scan it, and it actually takes you to issue number 19. So it might be like close to where you're actually at, Alyssa, which is in an arc called The Last Days Arc. So if you wanted to read that comic, I would recommend reading all of them up until then, because that one will kind of spoil the ending of that arc. But that one is really good, and it deals with Kamala and Bruno's relationship in a similar way to what we get to sort of see in this episode. Without trying to spoil anything. So Kamala calls Kareem, who offers help for Kamran, as long as they can get him to the harbor by midnight. They enter the high school, and Nakia catches up with them as she confronts Kamala, and Kamala apologizes to her best friend for not telling her earlier. The DODC arrive, and then all of them realize they have to come up with a plan quick. Zoe comes out of nowhere to join the cause, and so does Amer as well. Kamala uses the chalkboard to explain her plan to get Kamran out. Agent Deaver, who was told to stand down by Agent Cleary, but she doesn't. She completely disregards that order. As they prepare for the oncoming attack, they all share moments with each other. Zoe with Nakia, Amer with Kamran, and Kamala with Bruno, where she tells Bruno that Kamran's mother, Najma, died in Karachi. So before we keep going here, first, I loved how Amer's first biggest question to Kamran was, "Are you even a fan of Great British Bake Off?" Like, that was what he was so worried about. And then, did anyone else catch the reference to Zoe's character in the comics here?
Of course, my gaydar was just off the charts. It was incredible. I mean, I always enjoy the casual suggestion from Disney that queer people exist. But I think, honestly, we're kind of at a point where, like, we can just move past a 5-second gimmick and maybe start fresh with, like, an actual queer character that has depth and is interesting and is more than just like a kiss on the hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
If you have, I guess this isn't really a spoiler, but if you don't want absolutely any news about Thor: Love and Thunder, friends listening to this show, please pause it or fast forward like 1 minute.
Same goes for the G. Willow Wilson run of the comics, I think, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the fact that Zoe has a crush on Nakia, to my knowledge, is very minimal. She's basically kind of like a closeted lesbian, and her family understands that she's not kind of out to the public. But that is just very, the duality for like the comics and the MCU right now is that they're talking about it, but it's not in like a main forefront kind of way. Like things that I'm looking forward to, like Wiccan and Hulkling. I'm very excited for that in the future, because that's the only thing that I've seen represented very well. For Thor: Love and Thunder, for example, it kind of like sparked my memory for this. There was a clip that Taika Waititi was like, is this movie gay? And Natalie Portman was like, super gay. This movie was not gay at all. Yeah. In any way. Yeah. There was mention of a gay couple and there was a kiss on the hand. That's not gay. So it doesn't have to be about being gay. As a lesbian myself, not everything has to be about being gay, but just showing queer people as human beings who just exist and are just main characters who might be out and proud and happy with who they are, is something that I'm really looking forward to come hopefully soon in the MCU, especially with like America Chavez and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I completely agree with you. And I'm excited to get to see that, because I think that's what this series is kind of really being, garnered, like it's really garnishing a lot of respect for, is the fact that it kind of is, as far as representation goes, of Kamala's culture and Pakistani culture. This is kind of setting the bar, at least from that front. So yeah, we quite haven't seen that yet from Disney and Marvel for the LGBTQ plus community, but I definitely think we will get there. I kind of read this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of just read this as Zoe completely recognizing Kamala's struggle with her, kind of outing her identity as a superhero with her, with her own sexuality. And I think it honestly, for a brief, like kind of 4-second scene, we didn't really get Zoe too much in this series. And she's fantastic in the comic books. And so for a brief moment, it kind of just like, I was like, oh, there's the Zoe I know. There's the Zoe from the comic books that I know. And I was really happy to see that, even though later on in the episode she kind of does something that's a little not as great in my opinion, but we'll get to that for sure. That. Yeah, we'll talk about that moment.
Well, I want to chime in one more time too. Is just with the I think we're definitely going to see some more representation in the future, especially with X-Men coming on the horizon. A lot of their characters deal with the struggle as well, and even Iceman, who was like canon straight for the longest time. When they revamped the team, they brought him back as a gay character, and it really speaks volumes to the way that they addressed certain issues in like the past that the straight character was clearly going through, questioning his identity, and how they embraced that, recreating his character. And I feel like a lot of that will be inspiring MCU to do the same thing, where they like to take the comics as an inspiration on how to reinvent characters while still keeping them true to the core of the character, which I think is really cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to that type of stuff too, representation too, because again, they're just humans and it's more stories to tell. And I think that's something that we sorely need in culture and like cinema and TV and stuff like that. So definitely excited for the future.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's what Marvel Comics is meant to do. And I think this series shines in a lot of ways, and I think the MCU could shine even brighter with more colors. So I definitely am looking forward to that as well.
100%.
Cool. Let's keep going here to the tune of Anthem by the Sweatshop Boys, which, by the way, Sweatshop Boys, I've downloaded all their albums now. Absolutely fantastic. But to the tune of Anthem by the Sweatshop Boys, we get to see Kamala's plan in action. Zoe uses her social media to bring the entire community to their aid. They all dress in the same outfit, tricking the DODC into thinking that they can multiply. We see a skeleton create a massive amount of science foam, and we even almost see Kamran and Kamala kiss until they're interrupted by Bruno, who helps them escape. So let's talk about Kamala's, action plan here. What did we think of it, and what did we think of Kamala and Kamran almost kissing?
I just got Home Alone vibes basically the entire time she's going to the play. I'm like, oh, it's kids fighting the burglars. Basically, this is Home Alone 101 type thing. So yeah, that was nothing new. I mean, it kind of felt like, again, really setting the tone that this is a kid show. The way that they're dealing with these bad guys who, I must say, have very non-lethal weapons, it looks like. I mean, it destroyed concrete in that one shot, which doesn't seem very safe when they're shooting at a bunch of kids. Like, I don't know how Deaver thought she was going to come out of that with looking good, no matter what happened, whether they caught them or not. Shooting a bunch of kids never comes off good. So that was interesting. No. And then the Kamran and Kamala thing, again, you kind of could see that coming. The whole love triangle has been laid out since the beginning. So no surprise there, and I'm sure we'll see more of that going forward in the future if there's a second season, or if we see Kamran in the Marvels again. Who knows?
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely happier with the Kamran route rather than the Bruno route, because I feel like Bruno at this point is kind of like a close friend, brother type figure. I know that he's in love with her, and it's the whole thing, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit later, but I personally would prefer like a storyline kind of centered around family and friendship, just because rather than a love interest, like that's been so played out. I think that would be a great approach to take. I also really enjoyed the duality of this scene. A lot of the points in this episode, actually, when she's standing in front of her parents in the living room, kind of like having something to say to them. In the first episode, they weren't like too pleased with her. Now they're like very excited for her. This comes around, the plan for her to get out and escape to go to AvengerCon. Very, very much reminiscent in this scene where she's like being dastardly and planning with her friends on how to take on these government agents with baseballs and skeletons with balloons. I loved it. I thought it was fun.
They got the Zuzu in there playing that music.
When Zuzu started playing that song and the disco ball was being illuminated by their laser lights, I was howling. It was incredible.
So good. I love seeing Zoe carefully break the glass to get the fire hydrant out. Like, she's just like so daintily just like kind of and then using her social media, I think, was the perfect way to get the entire community to them. I think again, this show is all about family, and so I think it was fantastic to have Kamala's family with her in these moments. And again, to have them at like the big giant fight, I thought it was great. Even if Kamala says superheroes don't have chaperones, I was stoked to see her brother there. And I know a lot of friends of mine who, I'm an only child, but I know a lot of friends of mine who have older siblings or younger siblings, and they're always having to tag along for some reason. And so I was happy to see that as well. But yeah, Bruno, dude, can't catch a break. Just go to school at this point. He gets punched hard in the face. Did you guys notice that? He's doing
He got the stock of that gun to the face. Like, he is missing.
Is that what that was? Oh my.
Oh,
jeez, dude. Absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. He comes out pretty unscathed for that moment, but I love how he's doing the dances that he learned for the wedding and stuff like that. So not very well, but all right. So then things escalate as Kamran learns from Kamala that his mother is dead, and he gets really upset and starts attacking the DODC back. He eventually makes his way outside the high school, where the community is now blocked off to witness the DODC fire on a teenager with live rounds, which was like, I was like, this is really intense. Kamala then saves him by using a hard light shield to block the bullets. The DODC cease fire, but when they then they bring out one of those like wave cannons that was used by the military to on the Hulk.
Yep, to
like
stop the Hulk.
They're like, oh yeah, a teenager. Yeah, there's a teenager here, so let's bring out the thing that stopped the Hulk. And they blast through the shield. Kamala and Kamran both fly back, and all seems lost until Kamala works up the strength to say "Embiggen," and she covers her body in hard light to stretch out her arms and legs, and she Hulk smashes, rightly so, the DODC vehicles. We see Kamran almost crush the community by accidentally throwing one of those cars until Kamala catches it. But they can't celebrate for too long as Deaver picks up her gun, pointing it at Kamran, and he starts to lose all control as the Norlight starts blasting out of him. Kamala manages to stop him just in time, creating her own Norlight bubble. She calms him down, telling him his mom died so that he could live even if it wasn't in the Nor dimension. He asks her how they can ever be normal, and she says there is no normal. There's just us and what we do with what we've been given. She then smashes a big ol' hole in the ground, which somehow allows him to escape. So what did we think of Kamala's embiggen form finally being realized in this show? And what did we think of the final confrontation between Kamala, Kamran, and the DODC?
I screamed. I was like, right? It was basically like hearing Hulk smash, or on a smaller scale, hearing like Avengers Assemble. It's just like something that's so associated with this character, and we've been so lucky to see like these different forms that she's taken and the like visual MCU interpretation of her powers. But that was very much in line with like her origin and how her character started.
Yeah, and Embiggen, I think it was just a great compromise for the comic book fans who, as you said, we've all wanted to see that power set in live action, and I think a lot of folks were a little deterred when they moved to the hard light, Darcy included. But I think getting to see her, I still think it looked a little goofy with her head staying the same size as the rest of her body. It was a little strange. But when she Hulk smashes that car, I was like, let's go. And when she does the double peace signs with the hard light hands, I was like, oh, it's so good. So good.
Yeah, just seeing this for the first time definitely sold me on this version of the powers. I will say it now.
Yeah?
The hard light has won me over in the MCU, because it seems like this will be her main form of like combat and just superhero fighting will be the embiggen form. That's when she's serious, which I really like. And again, it definitely looks exactly like the comics in terms of the shape outline of it. So totally on board for that. My biggest issue with it is the fact that, again, the head is just floating there. I mean, she's inspired by Captain Marvel. You'd think she'd want to put a helmet on or something like that. Protect her head when they're firing live rounds at you. Something along those lines. It seemed, even just on a protective standpoint, not the smartest choice to leave your most vulnerable part regular. So, again, loved all of it other than that, though. And again, like you said, the peace signs being thrown up was great. One of the takeaways I do have, though, is I don't understand how her powers allowed her to dig a tunnel by not even really punching the ground. She kind of lightly put her fist against it, and all of a sudden the ground went away. It's
He's just
that was a
little
weird.
They got some splaining to do with that.
Well, and so that's the thing. Like I've watched the episode a few times now, and I gotta say, like I didn't really vibe with Kamran's, even his arc in this episode, and I think. I was happy, though, the way this sequence was written and that moment was written. I'm glad it wasn't just, her versus him, but rather her using her powers in defense of him and sort of bringing him back in terms of like seeing the light, if you will, no pun intended. But I just thought that, like, I don't know, there's so many big Marvel fights where it's just like, one color versus the other color, and so like just blue and purple mashing each other in a CGI fest. So I'm just happy that they kind of found a way to sort of circumvent that. But yeah, like when she punches the hole in the ground, like how does that even work? Like how does he know how to traverse the sewers to get to the harbor? Like does he know what to do? Did he punch a hole back up? Are there some construction crew out there that sadly has to like, gotta fix another one of these big holes that one of these superheroes left or something?
Gotta look out for crocodiles.
Yes.
And how did none of the crowd that came to surround her afterwards not fall in that hole? Because she didn't really move away from that hole. It was 15 feet behind her, and there was people standing where it was. So I'm very confused about that whole escape aspect and how they're not going to be like, okay, we'll leave this girl alone. Let's go find the guy who ran away in a hole.
Yeah. A little odd of a sort of a solution to that problem. But listen, again, I think the conversation that she has, and I especially think, the line of "there is no normal," there's just us and what we do with what we've been given, I think speaks to a lot of people in the world, and I think it was powerful, and I think Iman Vellani really nailed that line, even if sort of the stuff surrounding that moment was a little bit goofy. So then the entire community comes together to protect their own, to protect their superhero, and Kamala escapes. And Deaver and the DODC are now fully relieved of their duty, and rightly so, because they just freaking suck. We get a TikTok montage, which, can we just take a moment and highlight these? I know, Alyssa, you're a huge TikTok fan.
I am.
Let's talk about these TikToks. What did any of them stand out to you? What did you think of this sort of montage?
I am obsessed. Sheikh Abdullah as a hot dog? Are you freaking kidding me?
So good.
He's like, I'm now a hot dog. I hope I am halal. I was so dead.
Oh my gosh. I love it because I love how he wouldn't, like he'd accidentally just turn that on because he's trying to like join the conversation and just
Yeah, it was so cute. His handle was Sheikh Abdullah JCIC, which is just like, I think it's just the Jersey City Islamic. It's not Islamic Church. What would it be called? Community?
Islamic community. Most
community,
likely,
probably.
Yeah.
So I just thought that like they don't miss. Marvel just doesn't miss. They don't forget anything. I was inspecting those little like frames with, I think his name was Paul. He was doing like the dancing. From a few episodes ago. I'd seen him before. And there's like the little spinning record from TikTok. It was amazing. But I just seeing G. Willow Wilson was also very cool. Dude. Even if it was just for a moment. Just seeing them there was so sweet.
I loved how like she recognizes Kamala. She's like, I think I recognize her or something like that. And it was just such a nice little line. And her profile picture is a pen. I thought was just perfect because she's a writer. So I was just like, so good. And then I think, I think the one part that didn't fully work for me, and we brought this up earlier, was Zoe kind of like hanging out with Nakia and just being like, I'm using my it's almost sounded so robotic. Like, I'm using my platform to elevate your voice. Like, I get it. It was nice, but I kind of felt like she was sort of doing that for like her own image in a way, and it was I don't know. I think she has a little bit of ways to go, but I think it was nice to get another sort of cute moment between her and Nakia. Like they're kind of friends now, and whereas before they absolutely weren't. So I thought that was kind of nice. Yeah.
I mean, I could have done without it. I'm not the biggest TikTok fan, but it was cool to see G. Will Wilson. I think it was a really neat way to kind of pay homage to it, even with the pen, like you said. Like they definitely don't miss when they're putting in these little details, even if you're not a fan of those little details. It's still really cool that they go that far. So that was cool. But again, not a TikToker, so I'm just like, can you just keep going? I want to know more story. I don't need this stuff. Filler, get out of here.
Totally. But I think it's what it represented to Kamala in particular. But like the shoe thief, Hemi Dizzle, showing up, hashtag ice cream pizza. What a jerk that little kid is. I hope she dropped them on purpose. Mm-hmm. And then I did love how Sheikh Abdullah says they want to celebrate their hero with ice cream pizza. I thought was really cool. Again, emphasizing their hero, like, not only New Jersey's community hero, but their hero, like from within the mosque. And I think it was just fantastic. And I think, again, you look at the fact that she had 2 subscribers on her YouTube channel, and now she's basically broken the internet at least within her own community, which I thought was, I don't know. Again, you brought it up earlier, Alyssa, like just all these callbacks to the first episode. It's just cool to see where we've come.
I love a good like bookend storytelling arc. It's just so cool to see, and I'm sure if I went back and watched it again, I would find something else that kind of mimics the first episode. So it just makes me want to go back and watch it again.
Yeah,
Totally.
Clearly, the directors who did the first and 6th episodes had that in mind when they were shooting them, because there are so many like direct parallels between the 2 episodes. And again, I'm a good fan of the big bookend as well. So like this is done very well in all the ways they call back to the little things that make this hero who she is. So it's really cool.
Dude. I don't even own any bookends. I should buy some bookends. But that means I have to buy books, right? So yeah, jeez.
Just buy comics. They're so much better.
Exactly.
That's true. Okay. Maybe I'll buy some physical comics as well. So then we get hit with 2, I think, incredibly lovely moments back to back. One where Kamala is standing in her room, looking at herself in the mirror, followed by the moment with her dad on the roof, where he tells her that she saved lives, and if she saved one life, well, then she saved the world. As this happens, we see Bruno dropping off a goodbye letter, Nakia taking charge and fulfilling her board leader duties, and finally getting a better wing for the women of the mosque. We see Amr excitedly exaggerating his experience from the night before, which is kind of funny too, just because Amr is always so against all that stuff, right? He's very sort of by the books, and he wouldn't kind of usually be that excited about that, but he was. And we see Kamran meeting Kareem. He also lets her know that her name in Arabic means perfect, but also that her name in Urdu means Marvel. He calls her their own little Miss Marvel. They both hug and say, "I love you." And again, I'm not crying. Are you crying? I was like, oh,
I was sobbing.
Friends, right? Like, oh, what did we think of these incredibly lovely moments? And on the note of Kamran, do we think he actually joins the Red Daggers? What are your thoughts?
I love the moment. Again, very touching, and I thought it was very cool. Again, bringing back the fact that family is such a big part of this character and this hero and who she is. So the fact that she, the first time we hear her hero name is from the lips of a family member, speaks volumes to, again, that connection that she has with the people around her, and her community as an extension. So I thought it was really cool. And again, the whole mirror thing, direct reference to that first episode when she's trying on her, her cosplay, and she was unsure of herself in that first episode, but when she looks at the mirror now, you can tell she's like, this is who I am and who I was always meant to be, and I can't wait to show the world. So I thought it was really cool that, again, to put those 2 moments together, it really elevates the whole, story of this hero overall. So it was really cool.
It's so good. So good.
It kind of just adds to my hopes that there will be no romance factor in the story arc, because if we can change things like her power set and things, why can't we change the story arc? It's a story about love, self-love, family, and acceptance, and I think like the duality of her kind of standing in the mirror, and now she's so confident and so accepting of herself, and not only that, but like also she feels empowered by herself and by her background. And I think that the fact that the name that she has or was given by her father also just adds to the sob factor. It just adds to her symbol and her costume and her mask and the scarf and the bangle. It's just all so beautiful. And I didn't see it coming at all. I thought she was just going to be like, you know what? I see myself as a strong, powerful woman. I'm going to call myself Ms. Marvel. But no, It has so much more depth. And I think that's just so much more beautiful.
Oh my gosh, dude. Like it's just Mohan Kapoor's face when he sees her running away and he's just saying magical. Like absolutely incredible performance. And I was so like I couldn't handle it. He was so proud of her. He is so proud of her. And as you said, like, grandmother gave her the bangle, mother gave her the suit, dad gives her name. these were the best parts of the show, and it all culminated in bringing her exactly what she was seeking this entire time, which is her own identity. And I just was like, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. I was just thinking in that moment, I'm like, damn, like G. Willow Wilson watching this back was probably super proud of just getting to see what this team and this group at Marvel and these directors and these writers have all kind of done with the characters. Just perfect. They really get the source material. They get it. And I think it would be great to see Kamran back as a Red Dagger. I think it would be interesting to see what his relationship with Kareem would be, just given like both their history with Kamala, but also the fact that like Kareem's whole thing was hunting Kamran's like family members and like Jinn and like the unseen. And so like, I don't know how that's going to work out. It'll be interesting to see, but I'm hoping that Kamala's impression on Kamran will do enough to keep him, understanding that, like, Kareem did a really nice thing to help you get out of that situation. So hopefully they can work outside their differences.
Yeah, I totally think that Kamran will definitely be hopefully taking Kamala's words to heart, because I think that this training and proper, even meditation, who knows what the Red Daggers do to hone their bodies to fight these clandestines, that might help really get him to focus his power through, physical training and stuff like that. And again, if he takes Kamala's words to heart, I totally see that being the route that he goes. And I like that a lot more than how they portrayed him in this episode and over the series as just kind of the... Just like he was a bomb in this episode, it felt like, and just he was the issue. It never sat well with me. So I hope that future storylines with him deal with that power and the struggle to control it, because I think that'd be a really cool story to tell. Totally, yeah. Hopefully they can make that happen, and I think it would be kind of interesting to see how they would maybe come to a standstill when maybe they do have to confront, if Najma is still alive, maybe confront Najma again, as maybe they're hunting the Jinn. But let's keep going here. We're then treated to a live action recreation of Miss Marvel #5 as Kamala is sitting on top of the lamppost. Very iconic imagery. And yeah, I know. I was like, just constant tears here. We then see one of her hard light platforms turn into her symbol. And then again, it turns into a 1 week later, where we see Bruno rolling up in Kamran's car. And after a brief debate over who should keep it, he explains to Kamala that he looked into her genetic makeup yet again. She says if he's bored, he should just call her. And he discovered that there's something different in her genes. Drum roll, please. He says, a mutation. And we hear the X-Men 94 theme song Stinger, to which Kamala says, whatever, it's probably just going to be another label. She asks Bruno for his keys, and they discover that Nakia has swiped them, turns around, and in the car says, get in, losers, we're getting shawarma. Oh, it's so
that
good.
Mean Girls
they drive
Avengers callback is something I didn't know that I needed in my life.
It's so good. And they drive off, giggling like the best friends that they are, and the episode ends. Now, I know there's an end credit scene as well, but we're going to save that for our prediction segment. So let's discuss this ending here. Let's just kind of go right to it. Obviously, that Mean Girls Avengers post-credits mashup was phenomenal. But what we really all want to talk about is Kamala an Inhuman? Is she a mutant? Is she both? What do you think?
Darcy?
Well, I feel like it could go either way with the trill in the background of the X-Men. I feel like they are going more the X-Men route, and maybe Inhumans will be a later project, given that, the first attempt wasn't the best or most well received. Maybe they're trying to distance themselves from that and go the X-Men route and set up more mutants popping up through the series, which I think would be really cool. And again, I think it's a neat twist on the origin of the character. Inhumans and X-Men share a lot of similarities in the comics, and just switching that background, I think, would be a really cool way to, again, pay homage to the background, but keeping the character story fresh and exciting.
Totally. Yeah, it's interesting because, like, the reason she's an Inhuman in the, kind of in the original source material is because they couldn't call her a mutant at the time. That was not something they had the opportunity to do. And I remember, I don't have the exact, hold on. Oh, I do have the exact article here, but Ben Travis from Empire actually, I believe, interviewed Sana Amanat, who was one of the creators of Miss Marvel alongside G. Willow Wilson, who actually said that, like, they were originally considering Kamala to be a mutant. And so I think, in my mind, this is, especially with her saying, like, oh, it's just a label, I think they're kind of just saying, listen, it doesn't fully matter. It's exciting to hear the word mutant, and we get hyped, and my heart skipped a beat when that song happened, and I hope they use that song for whatever the actual X-Men project is outside of, like, the cartoon that's coming up. But I would, oh my gosh, absolutely incredible. But I think that's sort of Marvel just giving a nod and a wink to say, listen, there's going to be mutants, there's going to be Inhumans, maybe there's going to be some people that are both. And the fact that they've already sort of said, like, Kamala's a Jinn, and, you know, so is she a Jinn? Is she is she a mutant? Is she, you know, where does that sort of land? I do think, though, and this is kind of just the one little thing, I think the fact that she lives in Jersey City, close to New York, and close to where Charles Xavier would have his school upstate, I think it makes perfect sense. In fact, you actually hear Bruno say to Kamran at the beginning of this episode that he wants to get him upstate when they're in the subway. And it's like a really quick throwaway line. But I'm wondering, like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, did Bruno at this point already know about a certain school for gifted younglings, but maybe he couldn't tell Kamala at that point, just with everything going on? Right? Like, I don't know. I'm wondering, like, with so many younglings getting notability in the MCU, obviously we're going to get Young Avengers, but I think we're also going to get that school sometime real soon, or at least I hope so.
So that would make sense. The original X-Men story follows a bunch of high school kids as they get powers, so it'd be a great follow-up to this high school series to have another high school team of kids experiencing their powers for the first time. So definitely an interesting theory, my friend. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I totally echo everything that you guys are talking about. I think my prediction will probably answer a little bit more. So I think maybe I'll wait for the next one.
Yes. Well, we're literally just about to get into it here. We're just about to get into here. Let's talk about it. So in our final scene, we see Kamala flop down on her bed after a night of probably superheroing. And her mom says that she still needs to do her science homework. But when her bangle starts blinking and glowing, she stands up and tries to Taylor Swift. She shakes it off. And all of a sudden, she's pulled through and flies back into her closet, where we see Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel herself, emerge as she looks at first at her hands, and then at the copious amounts of Captain Marvel paraphernalia around Kamala's room. She looks around. She's freaked out. She says, oh, no, and runs out of the room. So what does this mean for Miss Marvel? What do you think? How do you think this affects the MCU going forward? And again, this is our prediction segment, so you do have to start off by saying this may be a stretch, but Alyssa, what are your stretchy thoughts?
Ooh, okay. I have two stretchies. Okay,
get stretchy.
One stretch is for what's happening next with the Marvels. The other stretch is vis-a-vis the previous.
Go for it.
So this may be a stretch, but I do think that they swapped places. I do think that it's very strange to just be plopped down in a room with paraphernalia of yourself everywhere. I think that Kamala is like somewhere off, potentially in like the negative zone or somewhere where she's not supposed to be, because Carol seems very concerned that she's in trouble. So I think maybe in the Marvels we'll see like her and Photon like trying to save the day, to save our new beautiful young hero. But this may be a bigger stretch because I do think
you're gonna pull something. Be careful.
Maybe, just let me crack my knuckles really quickly. I think that in terms of the previous question about the mutant gene, about the X-Men, I think that what we'll see coming up potentially at Comic-Con next weekend might potentially be like an X-Men series that is not X-Men 97, might be actually an X-Men series, or maybe X-Men 97, but not a animated series. So my brain, I'm thinking like X-Men anthology series with kind of like an Amazing Stories, Twilight Zone, kind of like Black Mirror vibe, where each episode is like that character's origin story. And then maybe we'll have like an X-Men movie, because Marvel has yet to do like an anthology series where they kind of like do, like I said, like Black Mirror style, like kind of like a movie in its own.
Yeah.
I would love to see,
at least in live action.
Yes,
you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd love to see maybe them like introduced as a cameo in a movie coming up, and then get their own anthology. But that's just me being super stretchy and like just flexing all my creative muscles. But
that's super stretchy. I love it.
That'd be a wicked way to introduce the X-Men to the universe.
Oh, I would.
Anthology
be
series
obsessed.
are wicked. So yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know if I have any X-Men related theories other than what I said earlier, in that, they're definitely on the horizon, and it's a really cool way to introduce them, would be through this anthology series, or however. I'm excited for X-Men or mutants. But this may be a stretch, but I feel like Captain Marvel was somewhere with Photon already, and that was why she was like very nervous when she's back. She's like, "Oh no, we were doing something. We were containing some blast." And now, maybe even she looked at her hand. Maybe she was holding another bangle, and that's what she did something to it, and that's what pulled Kamala, and quantum stuff made them swap places. I definitely feel like Photon will be on that other end with Kamala, wherever that is, and that's why Danvers is so upset. Is because she's like, I don't know where she is. She must be on her own. I don't know what happened, type thing. And also, that would be very concerning to see pictures of your face all over a room. Be like, what is going on here?
It was very like Harry Potter Deathly Hallows apparition. When they like transfigure themselves and they're like like zippy, but like more colorful.
I didn't
like
think about that.
So beautiful. I loved it. A lot of Harry Potter references. I feel very inspired by
a lot
magical references. Yes.
Yeah. Especially as we get more magical, as Yusuf says. This may be a stretch, but yeah, you're all very right. That's pretty much it. I think like there's so many people online who are like, oh, she transformed into her like in the comics. I think if they showed her looking in the mirror and then she did like a Kevin McAllister, speaking of Home Alone, a Kevin McAllister scream, I think that would have indicated that she transformed. But I think again, this was kind of like a compromise, similar to her embiggening hard light powers for the comic book fans, because in the comic books, we do get to sort of see her at the beginning with the mist turn into Carol Danvers. So I think this was kind of to be like, that's sort of what you're getting here, but not really. I definitely think you're right. She swapped places. I think this is going to be the beginning of the Marvels. I think we're going to see, Darcy, like you were saying, the first scene that we're going to get is going to be this moment where they switch. And I feel that way because, like, I don't know, something about how the effects were done in this shot, and even just sort of the way it was shot, and like how sort of like it didn't, something about it didn't feel like, the fact that Muniba isn't in the scenes, you just hear her voice from like ADR in the background. Something makes me feel like it wasn't all done. I know that's how shows work. They aren't all done at the same time. That's how they're made. I get that. I know. I understand. But I'm just saying, I feel like this was done during the production of the Marvels. Something just, I don't know. So I think this is literally going to be we're going to see the other half of this when we join in the Marvels, and I am so excited. But shout out to Kamala for being the only character that can actually get Captain Marvel to come to Earth. Like she's the only one that can figure it out. And whatever did the switcheroo of the places, Nick Fury's got to figure that out. It works much better than a pager.
Overtime.
Okay, so yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so I think it's about time we get to our overall impressions of this episode and our final score, which will be on a scale of 1 to 5 of Rashid's yummy, yummy chocolate chip cookies. After that, we're also going to give our score for the series, which will actually be on a scale of 1 to 5 euros. And I think that's exactly how Kamala would want it. I think that's how Iman would want it. Just
Dessert
paying
first.
homage to
Totally.
the very first. Yes, absolutely. Dessert first. Alyssa, let's start with yourself. What are your thoughts on the episode and then the series?
For the episode, I would give it 4.8 yummy chocolate chip cookies. Only because I might have taken a little nibble off of it. I really could have benefited from like a longer run time, just in general, for this episode in particular, since we're kind of like capping off a journey with Kamala, and we have to wait 378 days until we get to see her again. And I think that my series rating also echoes that. I keep saying echo. I think I have echo on the brain.
Echo
That's
on the mind.
coming. It's coming soon.
I was gonna say.
I would give it 4.5 gyros out of 5. Again, just
Okay.
because I think the Marvel framework would benefit from just more time spent. Either longer episodes or more episodes, like 8 to 10, I think is the sweet spot. I think 6 is kind of rushing it a bit. I felt like after the second episode, we were still kind of just settling in. And by the time it was the 5th episode, we were kind of wrapping it up. So I loved the character development. I loved the origin story that we got for Kamala. I thought it was beautiful and imperfect, which I think kind of represents who she is. And imperfect in a good way.
Yes.
And I just really can't wait for more of Iman Vellani and all of the Jersey City gang, because they're just so enamoring. I love them.
Totally. Yeah, I completely hear what you're saying. I literally went back to our previous watch clubs and I tried to look up like, okay, what did I give WandaVision? What did I give Loki? And both those series are longer series, specifically WandaVision being 9 episodes. And both of those series got 5s in my heart. And as these series started to get shorter and shorter, you're right. We did see, in my opinion, you're absolutely right, a dip in quality and in the capability to tell these larger than life stories. So I completely get that. Darcy, how about yourself?
Well, this episode was definitely one of my favorites of the series. Like I said, I was watching the episode with Kevin and Sarah while we're on vacation up at a cottage up north here, and the one thing I said we were talking about before this episode even came to is the fact that when we saw Spider-Man, or the first time we saw him, or footage of him being a hero, he was stopping a car, and that was kind of what Tony used as like, you are a hero, you can do this, you like, that's a lot of force, you stop there. So her being able to stop that car later on, to me, was the moment where she really became that hero that can fight on the same scale as our Spider-Man, Iron Man, everyone else from the MCU proper. So that was a really cool way of telling that story. A lot of my issues with this episode come from the way they handled Kamran's character, because again, it felt like the whole clandestine story throughout the whole series kind of felt a bit muddled and rushed and almost unnecessary to a point. There was too many baddies on the screen when I feel like the DODC could have served as enough of a heel to propel Kamala's story forward. But overall, the episode was really cool. So I really enjoyed it. It got me excited for what's to come, both in the Marvels and again with that X-Men, hint. I'm always excited whenever I hear that song come up, and we've got it twice now, twice this year alone, just from a movie and now a show. Like it's around the corner for sure. So definitely excited. Definitely love that point. I'm gonna have to give this episode 4.5 out of 5 yummy cookies, because again, Kamran was handled poorly. But everything else in the show, the cast shone perfectly in this episode. I feel like the whole family, again, you mentioned how her dad stole the show. I feel like her brother just as much stole the show, because he was so good in that role. And I love, again, this episode really highlighted that. And so going from that into the overall series, again, the cast was awesome, but the clandestine story really dragged it down, in my opinion. There was, again, too many enemies for them to focus on a good story, and it kind of felt a bit rushed and muddy. So overall, I probably have to give the series a 3.7 out of 5 euro, because there was some pacing issues and a lot of questionable storytelling, in my opinion. So it kind of took me out of her origin story, but they did a great job of solidifying this character, and that's where this series really shines, is building up the character of Kamala Khan with some weird, again, questionable villain choices. But I did enjoy the series overall.
Absolutely. I feel like I might have been speaking on speakerphone when I was writing my final thoughts, because just both of you are echoing my final thoughts so much.
Welcome,
yeah.
Alyssa Cox, everybody. Oh my gosh, she's here. We said her name 3 times like Bloody Mary.
I can't wait to see her in their show. And actually, well, we'll get to that a little later. So this episode, I think, was honestly, it was one of the best finales that I think we've gotten in these live action series. I loved seeing Karachi in the previous 2 episodes, but I really did miss seeing Nakia, Bruno, Amir, Taisha, and Yusuf, and Jersey City and her community and Sheikh Abdullah. And so I thought it was perfect how they found a natural way, as I mentioned, to bring this entire cast together for this final showdown. I think the writing and the interaction between these characters in this episode is it's lightning quick, it's charming, it's fun, and it's so, with all those bookends, it was just so great to see them all together again. I did think, like yourself, Darcy, Kamran's story was the weakest part of this episode, but I was glad to see that they didn't do the blue versus purple glowy powers, and they actually had Kamala helping her friend instead of villainizing him, which I think they could have easily gone down that route, and I think it really would have taken away from a lot of the messaging in this series. So I'm happy they didn't do that. I think bringing in the DODC as the actual big bad was the right call here. And again, every time the supporting cast was on screen, I couldn't help but smile with every single moment of that. And that's not, I'll talk about Aman Vellani in a few moments here, but they were just so excellent in this episode. And her actually embiggening was dope. I'm excited to see how they actually use that when they have bigger budget. I think is going to be really fun and maybe a little bit more engaging. Might get to actually see it a little bit more. I don't think we got a hint of it, or we got a few little moments with it, but I can't wait to see it in a full movie. So for now, I am going to give this finale a solid 4.5 out of 5 Rashid's Yummy Yummy Chocolate Chip cookies. I ate a half of a cookie. It was really good. Now, as far as the series is concerned, just like how nutmeg is the secret ingredient in Rashid's Yummy Yummy Chocolate Chip cookies, family and heart are the secret ingredient to this series. And I loved getting to spend time with Kamala and her family. And honestly, those were the strongest moments throughout the series. I think where the series suffered the most was when it kind of had to do the MCU stuff, right? And it was kind of funny that way. Like, I shouldn't be watching this Marvel project and being like, they're getting into a fight scene. I kind of want to just get them to go hang out at Sana's house again. Talk, I want to, just go hang out with your cousins, like, or what have you, right? So I do think that the show has a big problem with balancing the villains. It was a little bit too bold to attempt 2 villain groups in 6 episodes, and you're right, for both the reasons that you brought up, whether it be we get a longer run or we just cut the clandestines out of this story and maybe find a way to sort of focus it on just the DODC chasing Kamala all around the world. We could have still gone to Karachi. We could have still had that storyline, even if Najma and the clandestines weren't involved. And I think shout out to the actress who plays Najma. She's fantastic. I think she's great. I just don't think she was utilized properly in this show. And I think it was really weird to hear Kamala say that Najma sacrificed herself for her son when, like, I don't know about you, but, like, I didn't get that from the moment when she dies. I didn't get that at all. Like, I was like, oh, she's like, we were predicting that, like, she's still evil. She's gonna go inside his body and help him open up the veil, and we still think that was happening at the beginning of this episode. So I don't know. I think Marvel can do incredible villains, and they've proven that before, even in these limited series, like with U.S. Agent, Agatha, Kang, and Echo and Kingpin, I think are some of the best examples of that. And we, with all those series, we get to see their backstories. We get to see and understand, maybe not so much with Kingpin, but we do get that from the now canon Daredevil series. And again, all of those villains are better for it. Give us the backstories. Same with Gore the God Butcher. I talked about this in our Thor Love and Thunder review. Give our villains great backstories, and we'll care about them so much more. And I think there was just stuff cut from the clandestines that maybe would have benefited the show. But villain stuff aside, it was dope getting to learn every single week about Kamala, her friends, her culture, while going on this adventure of self-discovery with her. that was the shiniest part of the show. So overall, I enjoyed this show so much, despite its shortcomings. I'm going to give the series 4.5 out of 5 euros. Delicious. I don't know who ate that second half of. Did you, Alyssa? Did you take that last half?
No,
of
I was.
Are you
I was
sure?
just going to say I'm so proud of you guys for pronouncing it correctly. Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Gyros. If someone says gyro, I'm like, get out of here right now.
Leave. You don't know. Yeah. No, trust me. I can't say I immediately called it a euro. First time I heard about it, but there's that great song by Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. And Luke Bryan for some reason.
Yeah. Interesting choice. All right. Well, before we wrap up, Alyssa, it's always wonderful to see what you can bring to our watch clubs, and you always bring some incredible comics knowledge as well as just your lovely self. Where can our listeners keep up with you? Where can they go? Where can they, click on to hear you or even see you again?
You guys can find me usually perusing Twitch. I traditionally open Pokemon cards and just kind of have a good time over there. It's twitch.tv/itsyourgirl Alyssa. But the gang is getting back together, the Video Dames and I, including fellow guest and previous guest, I guess now home base is Geekcentric. We got Megan Clara, we got Joanna's Cool, and also a friend of ours named Alex, also known as AKA Arkasumi, Video Dames.
Ooh.
And you can find us on twitch.tv/Video Dames Live, where we will do this kind of thing, but live. And you could ask us questions. It's going to be so fun.
You do it live?
We do it live, folks. It is.
You've got. It's just that's the confidence that you guys. I'm trying to get the crew here to go live, and we're just like, yeah, but what if we mess up? It's that's fine.
We all stumble so much, and I'm usually far too high to get it right the first time. So.
Yeah. I don't know if Twitch would kick us off for something like that.
Yeah.
So that'd
be fine.
I want to do it on
Just head over to YouTube. It's all good.
All right. Yeah, just head over to YouTube. Yeah. Listen, you got to be careful because it can get pretty addicting with how fun you make it when you're breaking packs, Alyssa. It's always a party on that Twitch of yours. It literally is like they're blasting the music. You can get a couple Zards. So, of course, we'll have all those links to the streams and the socials in this episode's description. All right, well, listen, everyone, we did it. Another watch club has been completed. It's blowing my mind how many watch clubs we've done so far. I haven't counted, but we've done quite a few, and we've got so many more on the way. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you like to listen to podcasts, if you haven't already. And if you want to write into the show with your thoughts or predictions on the shows we cover in Watch Club, well, you can stretch out your fingers to reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. But if that isn't magical enough for you, you can also reach us at GeekcentricYT on Twitter and on Instagram at wearegeekcentric. I don't usually do that. Justin usually does this. So
you did great.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Keep in mind, we have a ton of other episodes covering the latest and greatest shows and movies out now, including our recent spoiler-free reviews for Only Murders in the Building, Season 2, Episodes 1 to 6, The Man from Toronto, The Sea Beast, as well as our spoiler-free and spoiler-filled discussion for Marvel's Thor, Love, and Thunder. So definitely check that out. Justin, Megan, and I had a great conversation about the movie, and it's just it's a lot of fun. We also have a ton of other interviews with the incredible people who make the things we love, like Adil and Bilal, who directed this final episode. And we also recently interviewed Obi-Wan Kenobi director Deborah Chow and Anakin Skywalker himself, Hayden Christensen. So go give those episodes a listen and a 5-star review if you don't mind. And lastly, we just put our latest episode of This Week in Geek out, where Kevin, Justin, and I discussed our thoughts on the latest news regarding Kingpin and Daredevil joining Marvel's Echo. Alyssa, did you hear about this?
Alakwa Cox, everybody! She's here!
She's here!
Yes, I did hear about it. I have a lot of thoughts about it, but mostly I'm just very excited. I haven't actually seen Daredevil yet. I've only seen like 5 episodes of the first season.
That's okay.
So I'm about to dip my toes in some Defenders goodness in the next few weeks.
Okay. Get into it.
Don't tell anybody.
No, and we won't spoil anything. Everyone, don't spoil anything. But I think Daredevil and Punisher and
Jessica Jones.
I think
Jessica Jones.
What's the?
I heard Jessica Jones might be
dude.
in She-Hulk. I don't know.
Jessica Jones.
It would. Yeah, I'm really excited for the Netflix joining the MCU as a whole because that's just some great stories are told there, and I can't wait for those characters to make the crossover.
Speaking of a phenomenal villain in that as well, by the way. Absolutely incredible villain in Jessica Jones. All right, and then we also talk about the future of both Captain America and Stranger Things. So definitely go check out that episode. We drop new episodes of This Week in Geek every single Wednesday with the latest news and trailers from around the Geekiverse. So Alyssa, Darcy, thank you so much for joining me for this Watch Club. And as we say for one last time,
Cosmic.